Hey guys, welcome back to the High Ground Podcast where we talk about lightsabers. This is the perfect cast, Palawan and The Apprentice. How you doing today, Chris?
Doing good. How you doing today?
Hey man, doing pretty good. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, we should have gone over that before we started talking.
Oh, well, okay, lucky for me, I did. So, we're going to talk about our collections.
Yippee! Just kidding.
Yay?
Yeah, I'm excited for this, honestly.
I think, man, it's pretty neat because I think it can define what we have and what we've started out as or how we've moved on from there. Yeah, so talk a little bit about our collections, where we buy what we buy, all that kind of stuff, and how we pick and choose our stuff. There was something, did you have anything left over from last week? I had something left over from...
Oh, to add on? No, not necessarily. I think last week was pretty smooth, honestly, and it was pretty concise and to the point with a little bit of off topic, but it was perfect because it worked out, really.
I just wanted to add something that we didn't tell anyone listening in. We're not experts. Like, we're not absolute perfect. We call ourselves the perfect cast because it's funny, and I think that we're going to misspeak. We're going to say things that might not be 100% accurate, or that new information may come out and make that information stale. So I just want everyone to know that, anytime that you want to speak out, leave us a note, send us an email, and tell us, hey, I think that might not be on point. Certainly, we understand that, and we won't take it personally. We're learning, and we're trying to pass on what we have learned so far. And I think what we've learned can change from time to time. So, and as new facts and new data comes into the fold. So, just leaving that up. We definitely can get things wrong. We're not going to claim that we're perfect, and we're happy to be corrected where we need it. So,
yeah,
thanks for listening. Yeah, cool. So today we're going to talk about our collections.
Yep.
Right. Nothing else new going on
than mine.
Yeah, I think it's a long process there, right? I mean, I started with Disney Sabers.
And yeah, you did, but
yeah.
What was your first one too? Honestly.
I did at one point. What was your first lightsaber?
First lightsaber. Actually, that lit up. I'm trying to think. It was probably like an LGT off of like Etsy. I used to really like Legends a lot. I still do. Just I don't like not drinking the lore. You know what I mean? Still to this day. It was a Revan.
Okay.
I think it was a Sith one because the Jedi one has all the spikes and crazy shape.
Okay.
So it's very simple. And it was cool, honestly. Like, it was the first thing that, like, because I think the first time I thought about buying one was actually at Disneyland, and I looked at them, I debated on them. You can't even hold them there, like, look at them. Like, you just have to buy it.
Yeah.
So this did a little bit of research, and this seemed more, even for the price. I think it was only like $120 with a blade. And it worked better than anything I saw at Disneyland. If we're just talking about first sabers without going into like far depth details, it wasn't the nicest thing, but it was still a lot better than what you could get for $300 at the time at Disneyland.
I think for me, man, like my first lightsaber was a broken broom handle. Like, literally, I had two of them that we painted, one red and one green, after Return of the Jedi, and
That's pretty cool.
It was so much fun. And I think my uncles were HVAC guys, and so they just put a bunch of duct tape around the handles, and my cousins and I went to town. Now, we did have the little plastic ones eventually, but I think, I didn't grow up with money, so like, even though those toys weren't very expensive, I still didn't get a whole lot of toys. And when I did, like, I had to pick and choose. I think the Millennium Falcon's like the one toy I got for almost a year, but I had to save up and cut grass and clean everything, how that went. But I was at Disney, man. I was the same thing. I like 2017 or something, I think, just before Galaxy's Edge, or right as Galaxy's Edge was getting ready to open. And we were up there and had gone back after a long time. I moved away from Florida and went back with some friends, and then it was like, wow, man, this is pretty cool. So then we went on Galaxy's Edge opening weekend. We went on Smuggler's Run and Rise of Resistance opening weekend. Where Smugglers Run was opening weekend. Sorry. And then my buddies and I, when we went, they were like, "Hey, let's do this Savi's thing. You get to build a lightsaber." And I was like, I want to do this. And it's like $250. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They talked me into it. We did it. I made a lightsaber. And I was like, man, this is pretty cool. So then my first one that I actually bought off the shelf, again, like you said, it's hard to go in there because you can't just go grab one and start swinging it around. You know,
They usually have like a display case where you could see some of the floor models. Essentially, like I wouldn't consider it a floor model.
No,
but there's usually like 80 people around the case, and you gotta like.
Yeah, there's a line. There's like arrows on the floor that tell you to go this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way, just to wait to hold the thing, and you get to hold it, and you're just like, this is great. Let's buy it. So yeah, I mean, I did that with Luke, Return of the Jedi. That was my first into this new world of collecting, and that was 2018. So yeah, then after I grabbed like a TXQ Kenobi or LGT Kenobi, and it was really crap. I got it from Art Sabers. And I think I mentioned last week, someone helped me get out of that purchase within a couple weeks. It arrived broken and all that stuff, but I was still pretty amazed at the metal casing and how much more accurate that was than the Return of the Jedi saber that I got, that had that big old fat neck that, they put things around. So
let me ask
that's how
really
I got
quick.
started. Yeah.
The regular neck on it's still way too fat, but it's not as bad. But compared to when you actually want to put a blade in, like it gets like the chunkiest of all burritos, like.
Yeah, it gets pretty big. So
yeah.
So okay, so if you got something off of Etsy and mine was a Disney, and you eventually may have had Disney or two. I don't know. You didn't say, but so where did your collection go from there?
Your move.
I'm trying to think of the first thing I got after. In all honesty, I think it was. I might say it might have been the Aniflex. Which is a huge jump, but
that's a huge jump.
No, okay, it wasn't the Aniflex. It was the Pack store or the Pop store. I got a Darth Nihilus one. The one that
you got a Darth Nihilus?
Yeah, Darth Nihilus.
That looks like a personal massaging device.
It looks like a misguided ad on Amazon for something that you don't know what it is, or maybe it is.
One looks over your shoulder and says, "You're buying what?" Yep, and it's made of metal.
When I tried to sell it, there's one word it said in every post about it. That's all anybody would comment about it.
I mean, it has the look. That's for sure. I mean, if you go up for a job interview at now defunct Hooters, you have to have a look, and I think the Supreme Court upheld their right to have a certain look, and so this particular saber's got the look. Anyway,
yeah.
Okay, so what do you do now? How do you target now? You got the Nihilus.
Let me talk about the Nihilus very briefly. It was way better than the Nexus LGT. They use a different system. I've gotten their own Asteria, I believe it is. Asteria. Which was a huge step up from what was in my I don't even think it was Xeno, and I don't think LGT runs Xeno, but
they do.
But it was pretty good. For what it was, really. I think it might have been because it was their own. They at least had designed this and gotten it made by whoever makes their stuff, which is it's better than some of the other, like people that say something's custom, but it's still made by TXQ or LGT.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what drives, I think both of us when we talk about how we purchase it. You're touching on this, and with LGT, like the LGT and TXQ, they're in the same kind of basket, right? And they both are marketing to the masses, and their goal is to get as many products in front of as many people in as many different ways as possible. And that means, manufacturing costs stay as low as possible because you're trying to make fewer dollars per product across more products, like a Walmart, versus like, someone, like other makers that we buy from that are more like an Apple, who are a specialty and who really focus to hone in on one or two or five or, 10 specific products and try to really refine that craft and make them really good. So you noticing the difference when you got the Nihilus from the LGT that probably had Xeno or whatever the precursor was of that. My very first my very second lightsaber, I guess, after the Disney, I bought that LGT as well, and it had Xeno too in it, and it was bad. I mean, it had potential to be good because it was already a better encasement of the saber and shape and all that. But yeah, so well, I mean, so having that step up, what do you target today? How do you use that, and how do you target different stuff today?
From that point on, we could just say I kept moving forward and forward and forward. So I realized that while I still did like that Nihilus, I could do better after doing more research. And that's not to say that that company is bad, because that was a custom saber for a custom character only one of two people made, and they made the nicer version, which is the Patch Store or Ultimate Works. But I moved on to, I'm trying to think of the first, I think the first big saber I had was it from Brian? You remember? I remember talking to you. Sorry, it's been I've just been moving through so much product lately. It's crazy.
I don't think
my first Profi saber. But anyways, we keep going forward and forward. I get an Anti-Flex Elite, which would probably be my first real saber. It's empty though. We'll get to that later. I eventually ended up installing it. Also, one of the first actual pieces I bought, I would say, that's actually worth the craftsmanship and the love from the community would be from Brian Lynn. Was a Pretty and Night. Shout out to the church. But yeah, so he did a full chassis. It was a hybrid chassis. With brass inserts, an OLED screen with actual custom animations for each sound font, custom crystal chamber. Yeah, it was just the whole nines basically across the board. That would probably be my biggest step towards. And I'm not a very big custom chassis, master chassis guy. I think they're cool for one or two sabers that are really special for you, but it was cool. Moving from there, just way more, got very into Obi-Wan because of you, really. I think I have I don't know, 4 or 5 Obi-Wans now, from The Phantom Menace all the way to A New Hope.
I mean, they're hard not to love.
They're freaking gorgeous, dude. Insanely so gorgeous. I have my old Ben, which I'm, getting rid of, honestly, because I did partake in finally getting a Romans Mark 1, which is the king of kings when it comes to that. But
so how do you judge the quality difference, not personally between those two as a rating, but when you look at the old Ben and then you look at the Romans, what are you looking for to differentiate for you personally to determine that one has more quality over the other and prefer one over the other?
So it's necessarily hard for me because I haven't done all of the research that you or the community has done. But it is verified that the Romans Mark 1 is the most accurate A New Hope that you can get. That is FX and in a form of static, I guess you could say. Some people are going to talk about Dave P and Roman together, but I am not that knowledgeable to go into the details about that, so I'm going to shut up about that. But for FX, the Romans Mark 1 is the most accurate, and I'm more of an FX guy than a static guy, or else I'd be buying real parts and selling my house on mortgage and loan. But
we don't do that here.
No, we don't. But yeah, it's the most accurate. I mean, I do like my old Ben, but through chatting with you, I learned that they took some initiatives to change things, and it might simplify it and be more better for FX, but some things are locked in the place where they shouldn't be, or some parts aren't removable. while
Yeah.
Romans tries to follow almost to a T, like what the real world parts would function like. And that might suck for installing, honestly. I have no idea, but
you'll find out.
It's just nice, honestly.
Yeah, but you'll find out. You'll do it. And in all honesty, like I think being able to take Romans fully apart and having Romans being made pretty much of all the exact material and pretty much exactly the way everything else was manufactured. It's really great because I can take my fully vintage Kenobi that has all real parts, the same that were made on his lightsaber, and I can take my replica from Romans, pulling it apart in pieces. And so for you to be able to see that and now hold both of them and kind of make kind of a little bit more sense of it, I think that's great. I do want to say that the old bin is the best installed you're going to buy because the way that they've done it and the way they put it together, it's really great, right? But the Romans, while it might have a little bit of a trickiness here or there to install it, at the end of the day, once it's installed, it's going to be more accurate than any other installed Kenobi. So that's a great point to make. I judge quality exactly the same. To me, I played music for a long time in my life. I was a professional musician. I played French horn, and one of the things about playing a musical instrument like the French horn versus just maybe being a singer, or drummer, or guitar player, or even a bar piano player, is that in a classical organization you've got to be one of 52 to 62 pieces, and you've got to be precise and perfect. And that precision and that perfection of the tone and timbre, the timing, the volume level that you're using, the type of articulation that you're using, and then the lyricism that you use with everything that you play, every note that comes out of your horn, like you just have to be very, very precise. And so I think as a human being, I'm just really analytical. And so when I look at some of these sabers, I think, I hold one and I think, wow, man, this is really, really awesome. Look how close it looks to the original. And then you hold it one that you can look at reference photos and see that someone's done a little bit better. And you go, oh yeah, actually now that I'm holding these two side by side, I can see that this one's a C plus and this one's a B plus, or this one's a B and this one's an A or an A plus. And so I think that has, for me, quality first is it comes into the design, because before any drill bits touch any machining metal or anything else, someone has to sit at a computer and study every image reference that they can get or go buy a prop, whatever. And when they've taken the effort to put in that upfront work, that means to me, like, when that product comes out and if it matches the work that's done up front, then there's unparalleled success and accuracy, and that just makes the quality step up. So I think when I see that, and Roman has done that, not just measuring his real parts, but studying multiple versions of the real parts. And we'll get into that in another episode, because that's a whole 45 minutes or more on its own. But, the way that these parts are built, you're like, hey, this is really, really good. And so there are a few things about that old Ben. I own one too, and I can concur with everything that you just said, that once you hold the Romans and you go, yeah, this is different. Doesn't mean that the old Ben is bad. It just means that the feeling in my mind, in my heart, or my head, when I grab this thing, I look at it and then I go look at my real parts and I think, wow, one is very close and one is pretty good. So yeah, I that's it. The reason for me, like, I'm so OCD that in my head, all those little details that they miss, they'll drive me crazy eventually. So unless I own multiples of the same saber, like you, we both own too many Kenobis and too many Anakins, then I'll keep some of the ones that are not quite the top, because I like them, or I might want to install it and do other things with it. But yeah, so I think overall, when it comes to what's going on my shelf as the display number one, yeah, it means a lot to me to have the most accurate. So yeah. I love that answer, man. I love that you brought up the old Ben. What do you use in terms of that thought process? Like, how do you then figure out where you're going to buy and what you're going to buy? And keeping in mind that we're going to go through the buyer's guide, next week, and not to get into all those details, but how do you use that same target and that quality of that judgment of quality? How do you use that to determine where you're going to buy?
So the best way you could judge quality is like, let's take the Anaflex for example. You know, it is the most accurate episode 3 Anakin saber. It has been for a while. The Anaflex Elite was the King of Kings. The V2 was still one of the most. It was still considered pretty dang accurate at the time. Got better, turned into Anaflex Elite. Now we have a final edition coming out. Okay, Lewis has a track record of making the most accurate episode 3 Anakin saber. So when he comes out with the final edition, I'm never gonna say anything's gonna be perfect or like this is gonna be the King of Kings again, but he does have a track record. Roman wants to make an improvement to his Mark 1 that he found through the community or whatever, you know, he has a track record. I guess it's really off of assumptions based upon past work and past knowledge. That's the best way to explain it. Cal from KR Sabers, the Saber Army, like him and Jimmy Saberjunk, and whoever's on his team, I want to give props to everybody who works there, does anything there. But they have a track record of maybe some of their stuff isn't the most accurate, but sometimes, and I'm not saying that for all their stuff. It's just like, you know, I don't think they're following it like they make sure every one of their sabers works flawlessly. It's installable. It's easy to install, which not the Anaflex Elite was not easy to install. I had to go in there and sand down my pins. I had to sand the screws that hold my button housing. I had to put shims underneath the buttons. And that's kind of what you can expect from smaller batch runs and stuff like that. They look great. They still function good, but you might have to do some tweaks. But Cal makes Jimmy make everything so easy. The sabers look so great. They function perfectly. It's all about track record and what you do and what you're known for, really. Yeah, until you prove somebody wrong, I think that's probably one of the most important things in the community, needless to say, because you build trust in people.
Yeah,
that you're gonna.
You get it right, get it first. That's. I mean, for me personally, if I'm to talk about where I buy and why, like. I'm the same. I want to buy from the Laredo. I want to buy from the Shadow Foil, from KR. I want to buy from Roman. You know, all the other good ones out there, Wattos, Jawas, because what you can see is that they go out and do the research, sabers as well. And you can see that when they're doing the research, a lot of times the research that they make is public, and they show you the resource photos that they're using. They show you how they're coming up with their measurements. They put stuff together from a design perspective, and they show you sometimes the CAD work they're doing or the fusion work that they're doing, and the lay it over, you know, the existing reference photos that they have, stuff like that. So to me, when I see people putting that effort up front, that attracts me to want to come to them and look at their products and potentially buy their products. So very much the same. I do look at what they've done in the past. I do look at what might come forward too, and what might be coming next. But I really love seeing the analytical nature of the research that they're putting together. So that attracts me a lot. And yeah, I participate in some runs that I'm expecting that because of who's involved, and then they don't produce that. And honestly, it's a bit of a disappointment for me, but so good.
If you guys are, this isn't the buyer's guide or anything like that, but if you guys are looking for runs, you guys need to join the RPF. If you want to get in early on runs and see the research that they're doing, you need to make an account and go in there. There's a whole separate tab dedicated to runs alone, not just Star Wars products. You know, you could get like a freaking Iron Man suit that someone's producing, freaking
Batman boomerangs, like you name it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly. Furthering from that, collection delved into, I ended up buying a lot of SP Saber stuff. So Exile Elite, or not the Exile Elite, what is it called? I think it is the Exile Elite, which is episodes, you just call it 3.5, basically, Obi-Wan TV series. I have the Low Ground and the High Ground from him. More Roman stuff, Inception Elite, Mark 1, FX. The only stunt saber I have is SP Saber Spin Flex, which is the Anakin episode 3 stunt saber. Lots of Shadow Foil stuff, Youngling Slayer, Lost Spectre, Found Spectre.
And so from there, I mean, we talked about, you know, what we target, how we judge quality a little bit, and what it means to us, why, you know, and then where we buy, how we choose who we buy from, why. So overall, we'd asked last episode what your favorite saber was, or your favorite purchase or trade, or excuse me, what your favorite saber was overall. So today, let's do a little bit of an in-depth. If you want to go give me a run on of your favorite, which so far, and it can be a different saber. What has been your favorite purchase or something that you've traded for?
Actually, I might change my answer from what it is, honestly. Probably my favorite saber, which I don't have in hand right now. I could grab this saber really fast as an example. So I do have the Romans version. This is the SP Sabers XL Elite, which is transition between Episode 3 and A New Hope. Obviously, this is what you would see almost like the Romans Inception Elite, but with his booster on it. So this is a transitionary period saber. But this thing's probably... The Inception Elite's probably my favorite right now. I really do like my Anakin Episode 3s. I have a lot of them. But I just like the way the sabers look like, man. Because
Gotcha.
every single movie, it's different and something's changed about it, and they're all like individual parts, especially when you get into like something like A New Hope, which is, you'll talk about really. But this thing's become my favorite. It just looks so elegant. It's so nice.
So I think that I separate my favorite saber, and which we talked about last episode, and my favorite purchase, because you have to think about how much you spent on it, how hard you worked to get it, like all these other different things, right? And I'm going to be honest, like my favorite purchase is a pair of Emperor Palpatine sabers that I got that are also made by SP Sabers, as we talk about. Sean makes really amazing stuff. I got a pair of these guys with a dual stand for them for so cool. For nothing at all. This person just really needed to get rid of them. I saw it within 10 minutes of him posting it, and I saw the price and said, "Oh yeah, let's do that." That's awesome. And yeah, and the way he made them, man, they're two totally different finishes. They're all brass. They're just beautiful. They're just really, really nice. So far in my collection, that's been my favorite, is to for a purchase or a trade, has been that one. So you did say the Episode 3 Anakin is your favorite overall lightsaber. So you said, wait, you don't have the Anaflex with you right now, right?
No.
All right. How about I pull mine out? And
yes, please.
And
I
you
actually
talk about
just sold mine.
And you sold yours because?
I am awaiting the final edition, which I bought the collector's edition, so I have 2 more coming.
I have 2 more coming. You're terrible. So this is what we're talking about.
Such a nice box. I love the box design.
Yeah, pretty nice piece here. So what's your first favorite thing about this lightsaber?
Honestly, how much slimmer it is compared to regular Graflex. Having now held one would be like the number one thing. As soon as you unbox it, you'll be able to tell, especially if anyone has held a accurate to size Graflex replica or a legit real parts one. Yeah, it looks so good.
So you like the size of it because it's not.
I love the size of it. I love the control box. The control box. Okay, I'm not a very big spin guy. I'm gonna tell you that. Obviously, I'm not around, swinging this puppy around 24/7. I love the clamp on it, especially too. He was one of the first people to actually get it right and fully chroming the clamp section, where that band is with the. I don't even know what you want to call them. Like I'll just call them with the knurlings. They're usually like a matte color, like just like a matte steel type of color. Normally before the Anaflex, I believe. I don't believe anybody did it before Lewis. Am I right or am I wrong?
I don't think anyone chromed the knurling, and I think that it looks fantastic. I don't know if it's
really good.
I don't know if it's accurate. I can't remember from the prop that was the hero prop that was sold at the prop store. But I know that
99% sure it was chromed.
Okay. I just know it looks amazing. Just look at that.
It just looks great in general. I mean, especially one of my favorite things too is it was believed that there was resin buttons on them with like almost like a bakelite finish. But I'm pretty sure Sean painted these buttons for Lewis. But I love the buttons on the Anaflex. They look so good.
I think they look pretty darn good.
It's hefty. It looks nice. It is all brass, chromed brass.
It's 2 pounds.
It is pretty chunky. Even though it is the skinny flex, a real Graflex would weigh a lot less than that.
Yeah, it's an empty tube. So my favorite part of this saber is the part that you can see here. I love the bunny ears. I love the brass pins. I love this whole emitter, this whole combo, because it looks so good. And you just push the button, turn it on, push the button, turn it on. Like, it looks so really good. So this is your favorite.
Yep. It holds a lot of sentimental values, like the biggest part, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I think that a lot of people hold this one as their favorite. And it's very easy to see why. Without risk, or I guess with risking, sounding a little contradictory. So this is actually, of my collection and of the design, this is my favorite designed lightsaber. It's not my overall absolute favorite lightsaber, because I have one that I worked quite hard on to collect individual pieces and parts, and it's a real vintage parts Kenobi. But this particular one reignited my love for Star Wars. And I think what happened is, as I saw episode 1 in the movie theater back in 99 or 2000, whatever it was, I saw it like 3 or 4 times on opening weekend. And, cool. I just remember seeing this saber hit the floor. And I remember like the star knob, which I really love, looks like a sea urchin or something, out of the middle of nowhere. Then you've got the silver and the black just coming off of each other. You got the red button, you've got the purple button coming out here. This particular one is highly accurate. Now, this is installable. It's made by Sabers. It's called the Project 01. And so the reason that this particular one is my favorite design is I think that this is the most accurate to date that you can technically install. And then you'll hear people talk about one that Dewey and Daniel made together. And so that one is a static and probably at least the same amount of accuracy, because it's static might make it a little bit more accurate, just because, Ewan McGregor's didn't have a cavity going through the middle of it for the ability to install. But the cool part is this does have a big slug going through it to kind of make it solid. So there's that aspect to it as well. But yeah, this particular one, man, I really love everything about it. And there are a lot of people in the community that you'll see that, again, this is their favorite. And I think, like me, they try to collect every one that they can find. And this happens to be that LGT that I told you about that I bought. It was this design, but obviously it wasn't this kind of accuracy or this kind of beauty or anything like that. But I really enjoyed, I think that watching you and having a case opened behind the scenes, right? And he goes around, he's looking, he's like, how about that one? And he picks this one up and he holds it. He's like, yeah, I like this one. This one's nice. I like it. It's got a little weight to it. And I like this bit on the end, or something like that. And then you kind of hear them, look at each other, the prop makers, and Qui-Gon's is right next to his in that box. And he chooses this one and not the long one. And it's kind of funny because they're built like on the same kind of system, right? The ribbed nature, there's some similarities in design, but Qui-Gon's is a little bit longer. Shorter one, but I love this thing. I love the design of it. I'm going to collect historically the ones that I can, from Larble to Orbital Machining to Parks to this one, the Shadow Foils. I need a Dewey, so anybody out there listening has got a Dewey, I'll buy it. But yeah, this is me. This is my favorite. So next week we're going to talk about the original trilogy lightsabers, the ones that really kind of launched it all, and we're going to talk about how they're made, where they were made, what the lore is behind some of them, because there's a lot of details. But I want to thank everyone that joined us. Obviously, being on the high ground is fun for us. We enjoy it. As you heard Chris say, we don't script this stuff. We really just want to talk from our heart, run in free flow. So expect more of the same. Really appreciate you tuning in and listening into us again on this, our second episode. And we'll be back next week with another episode. So thanks, and until then.
I have the high ground. You the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force.